What a striking figure, Walker. There are many dangers to such an enviable personage in the Stitches. All of Elsewhere, in fact, if you cast a shadow long enough. Hear this one, and he will tell you how to grease the right palms to pass unmolested. Just so, sleek one, just so. You walk tall, with the heavy footfalls that signify an abundance of pride and gold. Unless you wish to keep low and beneath notice, like humble Zaham, there is a price to be paid, willingly or not. Of course, Five Claw, of course! All the more reason to fear crossing the purring liar on the road. The thief god delights in stealing pride even more than riches. Better to make a friend of Rajin first by acquiring him an offering or three. Start your pilgrimage here with the ledger from the Goiter's Gulf. An idol from Riemann would make a nice addition to this temple. Ah, and fine silks from the merchants at the Valenwood Gate. Yes. If you have not heard of Rajin, it is because he has stolen his name from your ears. Listen then, and pray he does not rob you further. The purring liar is the cleverest of Khajiit, and we are a clever lot. His stories are more plentiful than sand. Rajin is swift, sleek, and silver-tongued. What is there not to admire? But this one will lend you a secret. Rajin is the most beloved of gods because he was not always so blessed. Rajin was once a Khajiit like this one, though much larger and worthy of note, but so skilled a thief was he, that not even divinity was out of his reach. Khajiit who hear tales of the one who purloined godhood aspire to follow in his footsteps. Do you think you are above such work? Oh, Walker, do not invite Rajin's ire by looking down upon his deeds. If you do, he will surely play you for a fool and add your folly to his 1,000 tales. Craftiness is a noble art. Follow his example. If it were permitted, it wouldn't be theft. But just because it's illegal doesn't make it unworthy of veneration. Do you not cheer the gladiator because the law says not to strike another? Alas, no arena celebrates the clever thief. Are idols and vestments not fitting offerings for a temple to Rajin? But you wonder why these particular items, and not just anything, will do. It is because these things belong to those Rajin approves of robbing. Rajin's sleek shadow! You steal away moments of my life with a skill to rival the thief himself! Have you met a merchant, a priest, or a fence whose wealth could not stand to be humbled? Neither has the god of footpaths. Besides this one, of course.
Who is he? Gunzari, Gunzari. Sing it loud.
cut a striking figure, Walker. There are... you again. How goes your holy work? Then the King of Thieves was watching over you! Let's see. Yes, this will do. Yes. Fine offerings for Rajin. Do not forget yourself when dividing spoils, or Rajin will think you a fool. Good thieves always take their cut. I bless you in the name of the sleek shadow! Fortune and fame are yours for the taking! Is Rajin a god? Do gods not have those who spread word of their deeds? This one is but a humble servant to a more deserving master. Of course, sleek one. This one does not need a temple to bend his god's ear. He will gladly ask for Rajin's favor on your behalf for a humble offering. Or perhaps you wish to hear a sermon. This one can provide objects of faith as well. King of Thieves, one of your faithful seeks your favor. This one humbly begs you spare a fraction of your ample sleekness for their benefit. There is a fresh glow about you. You are nearly as dashing Tasalzo once was. You jest. Rajin is the saint of subtlety. You will only ever know his presence if that is his desire. But he is always there, an unseen shadow. Trust Zaham. You are in the thief god's good graces. Come closer, Walker. And this one will regale you with a tale of Rajin. Long ago, on a night of new moons, the dark was so thick that shadows stretched to oblivion. No one dared to brave the night. But one crafty thief. He chose to walk the strands. Just so. On this night, they stretched through the lunar lattice and led the thief toward the faint glimmer of the stars, except the dancing lights were not the stars, but twilight caught in a realm of spun silver. Within, silky voices argued. 3 princes, clothed in shadows, each claiming dominion of the night. The thief drew closer, stepping along the web where the light had not been caught, and listened to their debate. As he crept unnoticed, the clever thief made a plan. He waited, patiently, quietly, as the princess talked in circles, learning all he could. Then, when the time was right, he stepped out from the shadows and announced himself. This one knows the night like no other. He would be honored to choose. Risky for certain, 2 princes, sisters he could see, regarded the thief coolly. But the spinner of the silver web looked upon him hungrily. You are a light touch, little fly, but foolish to come buzzing into the spider's web. Seeing now that the thief was one of her chosen people, the Prince Azura stayed Mafala's hand. By your admission, this one knows the night better than any other. Who better to decide, or do you fear the truth will be too ugly? All 3 princes agreed that the thief was a most worthy lover of the night. And each told him why they were obviously the best choice. When all was said and done, the thief knew his decision. Knowing she was as vain as she was dangerous, the thief approached Mafala and heaped on her great flattery. My prince, it was the night itself that led this lover to his mistress, so that he could steal a kiss. And so the thief embraced the night. And more so, the thief deftly ran his hands about Mafala, purring sweet nothings in her ear, until his fingers touched upon the thing that really caught his eye. A ring on the finger of her 8th arm. slipped it from her finger without the slightest notice. Such was the lightness of his caress and the skill of his tongue, and placed it on his own. With that, the thief vanished, and the legend of Rajin, the purring liar, was born. What else may this humble servant of Rajin do for the faithful?